Welcome to the Power of Integrity podcast, where leadership aligns with principles. I'm Ralph Adamo, your host, and I'm glad to be here with you. I'm delighted to have on with us today Jeff Olsen. Not only is Jeff a longtime colleague, he's actually a very good friend of mine. And today, as a colleague, Jeff is with our firm, Integrity Wealth Management. But boy, does he have a wonderful pedigree professionally and personally. I can't wait to get started with this discussion, Jeff, and I'd love you to kind of lead off with telling our audience a little bit about your travels from business to business, then the business to consumer, and all the things that in between, and how life has kind of traversed its trail for you and your path professionally and personally. Jeff Olsen, delighted to have you on.
Ralph, I am honored. In fact, I'll share something funny. Nicole, your executive assistant, shoots me over this message about being on today. And I responded to her saying, I think you may have sent this to me in error. She said, no, we want you to be a guest. And I'm just really excited to have the chance to be on the show today. And my background, I graduated from UC Irvine and I went on to study psychology in graduate school. And I thought I wanted to be a professor, and I ended up coming to the realization that wasn't going to serve my needs and put me in a position in my life where I really wanted to be. And so the way I got into financial services, first of all, was just by luck. I really needed a job and was lucky enough to be in a position where there was a great company called Wood Logan that was hiring and really needed people because they had such high demand. And so I ended up moving up to Santa Barbara in August of '93 and having the opportunity to learn about the business, get all my securities licenses and insurance licenses. And ultimately, our clients were financial advisors. And the first 15 years of my career, I had the opportunity to learn, to be in this position where I had the ability to be out on the sales side. I was in management. I went back to the sales side. But in all these situations, I was working with financial advisors, and I quickly had learned, being a product expert was one thing, but being a consultant and helping financial advisors in their practices was really what advisors wanted. So I really worked to learn how they operated their businesses, how to be more efficient, how to grow, and how to best serve their clients. But I came to the realization about probably 10 years in, I wanted to be an entrepreneur. And along with that, I really wanted to be on the fee-based side of the business where I could really be on the same side of the table as the client. And charging fees versus being paid commission seemed to me to be the best approach at the time. And so in 2006, with some partners, I wrote a business plan, and we ultimately launched a asset management platform which provides a variety of services, including asset management for fee-based advisors. Unfortunately for us, we launched it in 2008 in the midst of a global economic crisis, and it was tough. I mean, anybody that wants to be an entrepreneur, I think, going in, you have no idea how tough it's going to be. And Ralph, I'm sure you could attest to this. It's like people think you're an overnight success, but they don't realize that you've been doing this for 20, 30 years, and it didn't all come together as easily as you had hoped. But we persevered, and we created a technology product that is used to this day in financial services that helps assess risk, which we're really proud of. And again, my clients were financial advisors during that time. I got to the point where, after 30 years in the business, I was like, I need a break, and I really want to rethink what my future holds. And that's when I decided to retire, not a real retirement, but retire for a while. And my desire has always been to serve individuals. And when you work with financial advisors, it's rewarding, but you don't get to see the families go through these different phases of life and ultimately retire and live their best life and all the things that financial advisors get to do. So my clients had always been advisors. I had studied exactly how they operate their practices, and had this panoramic view of all these different ways that advisors can serve their clients, the technologies they use, all those things. And that's what I decided I wanted to pursue. And you know this, but we've been buddies since the late 90s and had thought about potentially, working together in some capacity many times. I had asked you to be my advisor on my insurance needs as well as some other financial needs. And I came to the realization this would be a great opportunity for me to leverage some of the things that I know and some of my expertise with somebody that I really have a huge amount of respect for. So, in any event, I'm now a financial advisor, and I am working with a number of households today. But I have a simple goal: 50 households in total, because I want to make sure that I can spend the quality time with those people, and it's a family approach. It's the kids, it's the people that I'm working with. Sometimes their parents are involved in the process, whatever it is. But that's really my passion, and that's what I'm doing now.
Wonderful, wonderful. Yes, the passion comes through for sure. And one of the things that you were echoing reminds me of a saying that overnight success takes 10 to 15 years for sure.
Yep.
That's so true. So, Jeff, according to this podcast on the power of integrity, tell me what integrity means to you.
That it's a great question, and to me, integrity is everything. As far as values and beliefs, integrity is really the most critical element, because it means, I think, first of all, understanding who you are and being true to who you are. And it means that in everything that ideally you do, the belief system that you have and the values that you have are represented. And integrity is doing the right thing. And it doesn't matter if people are watching or not. It matters that inside, and it means having a positive impact on people's lives. That's what it means to me.
Yeah, yeah, no, succinct, concise, and to the point and accurate. I love it. So tell me, Jeff, you had leadership roles both in a couple of your previous segments of your career. And how did integrity, from your perspective, and for our audience to understand, how did integrity play a role in leadership, creating loyalty, and creating productivity?
I think that's a great question. And to me, first of all, it's doing what you say you're going to do. So I think it's critical in leadership to, first of all, tell people what you're going to do, what to expect, what's expected of them, and to, on a daily basis, make sure that you're providing feedback so they know exactly where they stand at any point. And in that process, it's always being true to the messaging that you're putting out and making sure that it's clear and transparent. And that's what I've always tried to do. And what I found was, if I act with integrity, it attracts other people that act in a similar way, but also it provides us with this common goal. And you find that when you care about people, they believe in you, they will run through walls for you, because they know that you do the same thing for them. And I take a lot of pride in the impact I've had on people throughout their careers, who once in a while get a call or an email or whatever the case might be, just saying thanks. You really helped me get where I wanted to go. And to me, that's one of the cornerstones. It's not just about getting somebody to do what you want them to do today. It's about understanding who they are, what they're all about, what's important to them, and helping them get where they want to go. And so, in leadership, I think when you take that approach and you create a culture of integrity, there's nothing more powerful, and people want to be a part of it.
Yeah. Yeah. A lot of our listeners are business leaders, they're in management. And so talking about the inside, how we work with employees and how we have the fellowship that we're trying to create was the last question. But then when we think about how our bills get paid and the revenue comes in, it's through the customers and the client loyalty. How does
Mhm.
your perspective, how has integrity impacted customer and client loyalty?
You know, I think we've all gone through experiences where it wasn't there, and it's obvious, right? When integrity doesn't exist, it doesn't matter what the service is or what the product is. You you can tell, you can feel it, and you know it, and you don't come back. And what I find is that, I'm a big believer in karma, and it starts inside, but being true to yourself is critical. And so if I am acting with integrity, not only do people represent or understand it, and it represents who I truly am, it leads to tremendous loyalty because they seek that integrity and honesty, and then they know that can they know they trust that I will put their interests above all else. And when they know that, it creates a sense of comfort and peace, and it helps them feel as though, they're going to accomplish the things that are important in their lives. The other thing that it leads to is introductions to other people of like mind. And that's really cool because instead of having to go out and try and find people, what happens is, you attract those people to you, and it's really, in my view, very much a win-win situation. And when we find that we're working with people that maybe aren't that right fit, um, it's easier to weed them out up front. And it's not a good fit for either party. If they're not acting with integrity, it's not a good fit for me. But if for whatever reason there's just not that ability to connect on a level deeper than here's how your portfolio is allocated, then it's probably not a good fit for either party.
Yeah, yeah, you're echoing things that are very important, whether it's a employee, whether it is a client, a customer, that having a good fit for long-term compatibility and alignment is really crucial. And have a good fit, generally we have to have levels of integrity throughout, kind of that thread of integrity, so that people can become trusted and predictable. Lacking integrity, you become unpredictable. One of the parties or both of the parties become unpredictable. It's very difficult.
Yeah,
What
Ralph, great point.
Yeah, yeah, and you were referencing something about attracting the right kind of clients or people into your lives, and I find those with integrity, Jeff, and tell me what your thoughts are about this, that those with integrity actually become advocates for the people in their circle, in terms of
Yes.
when they find something or someone or some organization that's doing things well for them, they actually want to recruit in and make sure that their colleagues, their friends, and family are getting similarly served. And
Yeah.
I know what your thoughts are there.
Ralph, I first of all completely believe that that's 100% accurate. What I find is it's not about integrity in business or integrity in this. It's who you are as a human being and the people that you attract, whether it's going to a restaurant and whoever is serving you that day. I think that those people that we connect with are people that we bring into our lives for a reason. And when you bring that into the business environment, you end up with a situation where you're bringing like-minded people. And yes, they become advocates because they realize that, hey, I found somebody that is like me. And when you really, it's not just having an average or even really good business, it's that connection at a deeper level that makes it exceptional. And that's when people go from, I don't talk about money and I just want to, make sure that my situation is okay, to saying, hey, you got to meet this person because it's not about money, it's about who you are. And that's one of the things I just love about being able to do what I do, and absolutely has a huge impact on that. People being willing to shout from the rooftop, hey, you really need to meet this person, but they're telling the right people that you want to meet, which is awesome.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Jeff, maybe we could turn integrity on its head for a moment and talk about when it was tested, when a counterparty approached the interaction and lacked the level of integrity, and how that went. Is there an example you can share with our group?
You know, there are a lot of examples where that has come into play. In many cases, I don't really want to share specific details. Um, when I have a sense that there's a lack of integrity, I think I've gotten a lot better at this over the years. But now I think when I sense that, it's something that I immediately step away from. And in the past, like I'm a really positive person and I've trusted people and put myself into situations that I, you know, stuck around too long. And this is kind of a different example, but one thing that I learned from Doug Wood, I'm actually going to his celebration of life this coming weekend, but one of my greatest mentors and really a legend in financial services. Um, he had started this company with Logan, and I was lucky enough to be a part of that starting in 93. At the same time, there was another similar company that was started. And the similar company decided we're just going to keep everything for ourselves. And Wood Logan did it differently. Wood Logan gave even people that hadn't been at the firm all that long um, stock or ownership in the company. And you fast forward 20 years, and the company and the gentleman who started it that didn't take that path, they ended up with a ton of money. And everybody that worked for him, they had a reasonable experience, but there was no end of the road pot of gold or anything like that. And in contrast with Logan, um, I bought my first home with a down payment that I received through having stock in the company. And every single person that worked at Wood Logan would tell you today that not only did they learn a ton from some of the most professional, intelligent individuals, but they also felt like this family. And I think that a lot of that is because of not just the culture, but the giving and wanting other people to feel that ownership, which allowed them to, really do great things for the company because they believed and they felt so strongly about it. So, not necessarily the answer to the question that you asked, but one that I think is very important. And as a leader, one of the things that I want to be able to do is make sure that I'm treating everybody the way that I'd want to be treated and taking them along for the ride. It's not about me. It's about, having a positive impact on everybody that's around you.
Yeah, when you say, I want to clarify, going along for the ride, at Integrity, we talk about, and that being Integrity Wealth Management, we talk about the shared future and shared journey,
Yeah,
going along for the ride with the client. And, I'm honored and blessed to have 75 households that I travel along that path and continue to try to grow how many households we can impact and affect. And I know what your objective is to impact and affect at least 50 households in your career. And if we can make that little change with these number of households and impact their lives and change those outcomes, that's for the positive. That's really a good journey to be on. Very rewarding for us and very satisfying for the recipient clients and their household for sure.
absolutely. And Ralph, do you mind if I interject just one thing
Go
there? What you just said is so important. And when you're thinking about, if I go get a haircut, if it's a bad haircut, the remedy is 2 weeks, right? It's going to hopefully grow back. When you think about a financial advisor relationship, it's like a marriage in a lot of ways because this isn't about today or tomorrow. And if the financial advisor is saying that it is, and you have to do something quick, I would be a little skeptical. What you do, I know in your business, and what I do is we think about it. Okay, well, what does this relationship look like over the next 20 or 30 years? Because we're going to be there, and this is your term, shared journey. It's 100% a shared journey. But what that really means is that both parties need to make sure that they get to know each other and they understand each other. And again, I'm stealing this from you, but you said it so eloquently, and it fits exactly how I feel. I want to work with people that are positive, that are realistic, that look forward to tomorrow and are happy about life and are living their lives with integrity and with a desire to impact other people in a positive way. And when you find people like that and there's this mutual respect, that's ideal. And like a marriage, that's those kind of cornerstones are what can help that relationship last for the long term. And if it's not there, that's where if you can hopefully see it up front, it's where you don't end up going down the path and you don't want that path not to be able to last for that lifetime.
Yeah, yeah, not to make a commercial of it, but when we can help clients achieve their financial true north and they feel that sense of confidence and we've restored the whole notion of facing the future with anticipation and removing the apprehension that may have existed under the surface or even overtly for them. And that's a real reward, and I think for the client that's a real peace of mind at the end of the day. But we've got a lot of young listeners, Jeff, and I always ask every one of our guests to kind of share their insights. What would they tell our young listeners starting out, whether it's in business or it's working for some company? What would you share with those young listeners about the tips that you would say now that you have a chance to look back at it after 3 decades plus?
Yep. I'm going to start in one place and then I'm going to go to a different place. But I think the starting point, and partly is that this is just top of mind for me because I've run into it a number of times recently. I think that, people my age, for example, we grew up in a different era and our expectations are possibly different than some of the younger people that could be listening. And so I talk to younger people about, how do I get an internship? How do I get a job? What do I need to do? And that includes my kid who's 20 years old. And what I find is that the most simple things, doing what you say you're going to do, showing up on time, following through, and maybe even taking a step where you have an interview, or even it's just somebody that has a profound impact on your life, and you actually write a handwritten thank you and send it to them. It's those little things that can mean so much. And what I'm finding is that a lot of the younger folks today aren't doing those things. And maybe if they're interviewing with somebody that's the same age as them, maybe it doesn't matter as much. But if they're interviewing with somebody that is like you, maybe, but certainly like me, those things mean everything. And I think those simple things can have a huge positive impact on a lot of the younger people that are out there looking for jobs, but also just living. And it's something that can really be impactful. But then here's what I would say about what do I wish I knew. So I'm not the only one that thinks this by any means, but the fact that we don't have financial literacy and information about investing taught to us in schools is crazy. And I know that it's starting to an extent, but we learn about all these things that we don't really need to know in most of our careers. But being able to know how to balance a checkbook and all those things, those are, if you can't do those things, you're going to have big problems and you have to learn. Um, so I think a lot of it is put on the onus of the individual. Um, what we see a lot is, you start working at a company and you're told, oh, we have a 401k plan, and you don't even know exactly what these investments are or what choices you should be making. So you kind of just make these decisions haphazardly. And I've really made a big effort to start building my own curriculum to teach. And there's a lot of different resources out there for kids, but you need to start learning about those things and you need to take steps. And so for me personally, there's three core things for my legacy that I really want to make sure that I focus on: cancer, mental health, and financial literacy and teaching kids. Um, Google compound interest. If you're thinking about investing, look at people like Warren Buffett, who are Warren Buffett is one of the most intelligent and successful investors of any time period. Look at the things that people like that say and seek to learn, because this is about not just today, but it's about your future life and the impact of investing a small amount today and letting that grow and compound with dividends reinvested. You can end up, if you're 20 today, being in such a great position when you're 60 or 65 or 70 financially. But if you just go out and you spend all that dough, you end up in a position where maybe at 50 or 60, you're now kind of scrambling around trying to figure out what to do. So one of my goals is to help bring clarity on some of these things to the younger people out there that are looking to learn and want to learn. And I'm wide open. If anybody hears this and would like to spend an hour talking about some of the things like core investment concepts and things that are interested in you, I'd love for them to reach out. And I've done this with a bunch of younger people recently, and it's fun for me.
Yes. No, no, great invitation there. And, there's a saying by Jackie Cooper. He was a sales trainer, and he said, but this applies to right across all business and personal life. It's the things you do that you don't have to do that always determines the difference when it's too late to do anything about it. And
Yep.
that really, that compounding value of getting started now. I we used to go into the gym with my son, Athletic Republic, and above the door before you walked in the gym, it says, "Today I do what others won't. Tomorrow I can do what others can't." And
I love that.
yes, yes, and if we can just take that discipline today, how much more meaningful it will be tomorrow in our lives. Well, Jeff, one of the things that thank you for that, and our young listeners, I'm sure, will take a lot from that, and hopefully some take you up on that conversation and that narrative.
Absolutely.
Yeah, we've been developing more and more the narrative around bucket lists and achieving bucket lists for our clients. What what resonates for you? What's on that bucket list, if you're willing to share with our audience, and or how do you go about building your bucket list, whichever angle or both, if you want to take it from here.
You know, and I'll talk about my own, but one of the core things that I know you want to do and that I want to do is help our clients and just anyone figure out, what is it that's most important in your life? Where are you today? But what does that best life look like? And so I spend a lot of time thinking about those things for myself and really trying to define what those things are. And my bucket list, um, most importantly, like for me personally, it's not necessarily those things that are going to be done like going on a trip to Europe or something like that, as much as it is focusing on what's most important, which is my family and my closest relationships, and understanding that those relationships and the people that you are around have a huge impact on who you are as an individual. So my bucket list, a lot of it includes, that quality time because we only have a finite amount of time, right? And making sure that I'm spending that quality time with people. And then also there's things like mind, body, spirit, where I'm feeding my mind with new information, constantly learning, practicing things like meditation, where I'm able to clear my mind, which I believe very strongly allows me then to think clearer. And in those moments, it's a very spiritual thing, but those are the things in the short term. Like it's not the way a lot of people I think would describe their bucket list, because bucket lists are usually things like my dad, for example, on his bucket list. Last year, he did stand up comedy. He's 88 years old. He's 89 now, actually. And those things are really cool. But I'm still like, maybe I'm behind, but I'm just trying to become the best person that I possibly can. And then, of course, there's the physical things that you want. And those are important too. And traveling and going to the beach and all these things. I mean, I love doing those things, but right now I'm focused much more on my bucket list of inside versus the material stuff.
Yeah, an inside game for sure. Absolutely, for sure. Well, Jeff, this has been wonderful. We've been spending time with Jeff Olsen of Integrity Wealth Management. Jeff has been a delight to have on. As we round the corner and some of our folks want to get in touch with you, what's the best way for them to get in touch with you?
So, one, I'll give you my cell phone number. My cell phone number is 949-922-3764. Now I'm going to repeat that: 949-922-3764. And you can also reach me by simply going to the website listed below, integrityiwm.com. And I'm lucky enough to be partners with Ralph. Um, Ralph really leads by an example of integrity. And this isn't intended to be a commercial, it's intended to just be my truth, at least. I know thousands and thousands of advisors, and there was no question that this was the guy that I wanted to partner with because I know inside and out what he's all about. And there's no mistake that the name of the firm is Integrity. And I appreciate that, and I'm very honored to be a part of it, and hopefully continue to build on what you've really done, which is amazing work with a lot of people out there. So thank you for the opportunity to be on the show, and thanks for the opportunity to be a part of Integrity.
Absolutely, Jeff. Well, you did a great service for our audience today. Glad you came on, and thanks for making the time. It was really a good time together. This 30 minutes or so that we spent, I think, was fruitful for our audience. It certainly was helpful for me. All right, my friend, take good care, and bye for now.
The information presented in this program is provided for informational purposes only. The information is believed to be reliable, but no guarantee of accuracy is made or implied. Expressions of opinions are as of this date and are subject to change without notice. The information in this material is not intended as tax or legal advice. Please consult a legal or tax professional for specific information regarding your individual situation. This information does not constitute a solicitation or an offer to buy or sell any security. Investing involves risks, including possible loss of capital. Ralph Adamo is registered with the securities and are offered through Kovac Securities Inc., member FINRA, SIPC, 6451 North Federal Highway, Suite 1201, Fort Lauderdale, Florida, 33308. Telephone number 954-782-4771. Ralph Adamo and Jeff Olsen offer investment advisory services through Kovac Advisors Inc. Integrity Wealth Management is not affiliated with Kovac Securities Inc. or Kovac Advisors Inc.